So, just having a chat with Ben, and this one absolutely tore off. Quite eager to get this one in. Hey, flipped in there!
That is a banger.
That's a sick fish, man. 2-tone, pink face, moon scale. That's a lovely one. Hey! Lovely jubbly.
You join me today down Berners Hall and I'm absolutely buzzing. Buzzing is probably an understatement.
Number 11.
That's me. Got to be peg 1.
Choice.
It's all turned out all right. Peg
Good luck,
1. I
everyone.
wasn't expecting that being 11, but yeah, well happy with that, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, it's all a bit excited. Now to kick it off, give you a little bit of a taste in your mouth. I'm gonna let Steve take over and touch on a couple of the fish that we've had out of Berners Hall, because myself, T, the team have had some absolute bangers. So check this out. Thank you very much, Mr. Mirror. Yes! Oh, mate, what a fish. What a fish. Thank you, mate. You have made my week.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Thank you, mate. There's been a few bangers over the last few years, but we're back. And hopefully, just hopefully, a few of them 18 visit the bank over the duration the next couple of days. Now this is Greg's social, massive respect to Greg, and we're actually on a full moon as well. It's just like tick, tick, tick. It's just starting to get that little bit warmer at the moment, although at the moment here it's cold again. Last week it was like, I think it was 16 or something in the days. I don't know what it is now, but it goes down to minus. The last 2 weeks I've been getting up in the morning, going out into my van, driving up the road, and I've had no frost on my windscreen whatsoever. Woke up this morning, I'll be damned, frost on my windscreen. So not the best of starts, and just to keep in the loop as well, the people that were on before, I think it was a lake exclusive, I think it was 16 anglers, and I think 4 of the 16 anglers had fish. A couple of them were catfish, but also there was one gentleman, I think he had 6 or 7 fish, so fair play to that gentleman, and I think it come from over there. One of the gentlemen said it was that direction, so I'm going to say that direction. So it's not been easy, but like I said, what I'm going to try and do is just bring you on my journey, give you a bit more of an insight into Berners Hall, what to expect when you're turning up, tips, tactics, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and obviously pick the brains of the team. So you join me with Ian, the dancing man himself. You've also got Mr. 40, T. If you haven't seen Mr. 40, where have you been on the internet when it comes to the Parker Baits YouTube channel? Because he's called Mr. 40 for a reason, because he always makes it happen. So he's actually next to me in his favourite peg. And also Theo, the head chef as well, and various other people around the lake that I know.
Peg for I'm not getting excited because I made this mistake last time. So I pulled probably the worst peg on the lake, mate, you know what I mean? If I don't catch, I don't catch. Nah, peg 3, I come third in the draw, so I went for peg 3. I was looking at peg 3, 5 and 15. So luckily I come third because I only had 3 in my head anyway. But we've had a walk around this morning, we've been here about an hour, not seen anything show yet. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. First time here, just looking forward to getting out there, mate, to be honest with you. And hopefully have an absolute beauty next time you see me.
So I got peg 2, Affy Days, your favourite peg. So I'm just lugging all the stuff up and getting it all ready. Bring it on. Whee.
Just trying to sort through all the mess in the back of my van. As you can see, it just gets lobbed in here. So now I'm just digging through everything, trying to get ready. But I drew 8th place in the draw, and I picked peg 5, I think it was. No, 4, peg 4 I picked. So I never fished that peg before, but I've heard it's done some fish lately in that area, so hopefully I can bag one. Cool.
letting up at the moment, and them rods went out quite nicely, to be honest with you. I've got a crosswind, so I'm sort of like keeping my tip to sort of pull the line tight so I can get the best line lay I possibly can, and they have gone out very nice. They're about 2 foot apart, if I'm honest with you. They're not far apart from each other whatsoever. These two I have went for 2 on a bottom bait in a bag scenario, and also first time I've had my shades on this year as well, which is lovely. There's a tiny little bit of sun, blue sky, bit obviously some cloud coverage as well, but it's just lovely. It's a nice temperature at the moment up here for Berners. But just finishing off on the last rod, I am going to fish a ZIG. Now you're allowed 1 ZIG here at Berners, so I am going to fish one of the rods on a ZIG. It'd be a no-brainer because if I'm honest with you, myself and Brad have seen some fish in the zone. Maybe not so much on us, but in the zone, which it's a big old water, so it's a bit of a tick, if you like, which I'm sort of a little bit happy, a little bit more confident going into this evening and the next couple of days. So yeah, that is the updates. Time to type a ZIG now. I'm going to fish a straight up ZIG, not an adjustable. I like fishing straight up ZIGs with a nice heavy lead so that it just drops off that lead and I'm complete contact. But I'm just going to click the bobbin up on this one and I think I'm about good to go. That line's settled now, nicely. Gosh.
It's a lovely mirror from Berners Hall, just over £30 mark. About 25 wraps out on a solid bag. Gorgeous fish, beautiful scales, proper apple slices all the way down it. Very well behaved. The colour on that tail.
Trying to recreate the wheel. ZIGs have been around for a long time and I'm sure they're going to be around for decades to come, but they are devastating in their own right. So what I have done is I like to fish a little bit of ZIG foam, and what I've done is I've cut into it very cleverly there, and it also pulls back, and then what I do is I pull these little fins back. And the only way of describing it is like some kind of little natural. So when I always fish the opening bits up so they're facing down, so if a carp was to come up to it, it's going to see them little, almost like talons, if you like, on that bit of black foam. Obviously this is in a new chocolate I'm playing about with, if I'm honest, with a natural dye in it, but it smells lovely. Even Brad had a smell of the pot and it smells really, really good. So I'm just going to pull that, put a bait stopper in. I mentioned down there as well, I don't like fishing adjustables. Now, ZIGs at the best of time are always getting tangled. If you're anything like me, like I say, it's raw at the Parker Baits YouTube channel, but I'll be the first one to say ZIGs aren't the easiest thing to cast. Now I find with fishing a straight up ZIG with a lead clip system with a big heavy lead, i.e. a 4.5 or a 5 ounce lead, I find I can cast it with a long anti-tangle sleeve, it kicks out and I'm always fishing. I always like to put half of a bit of foam on as well, so what I can see is I can actually watch that bit of foam come off the back of the lead. When I hit clip, you'll find that the anti-tangle sleeve will come into play and you'll see that bit of foam, actual PVA foam more so than the actual ZIG itself, come off the back of it, and you always know you're fishing. The last thing you want to do is cast, have your rod out 10 hours and think, that ZIG was all tangled up around my main line. But again, if you can watch that PVA foam go out behind it, hit clip properly, watch it go down, lead will hit first, you'll find that will follow after that PVA foam, and you know you're always fishing. Something I've always done, and if I don't get that, it's coming back in, mate, because I just haven't got time to waste. Anybody watching this now, I'm sure, is in this scenario where I get out once a month, once a week, whatever that is, whatever that scenario may be, and you've almost got to utilise your time whilst you're on the bank to maximise your chances catching carp. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop waffling now and get it sorted. Well, the ZIG, earlier I sat there and I thought to myself, Rob's having them on the bottom. I need to take that ZIG down and basically put them on the bottom. So wrapped up, 29 wraps, absolutely on the money, and then I've put it out, and that's probably taken half an hour, something like that, I would say, give or take. But you know, when you put a rod out and you're just like that's, I've been saying the last 20 minutes, that's on the money, that's on the money. And it certainly was on the money, so fingers crossed I can get this one in, and hopefully it's a nosser pig. Bosh. Happy days, mate. Nice one to start. So what I'm doing is now I'm just sinking the line, because obviously I am ever so slight little bit of bow in that. Not much though, not enough to redo it or anything like that, but that went out lovely, about 2 foot off the left, I reckon. And another important thing that I've done there as well, now you may notice that there's a tiny little tap of rain at the moment out there. So what I've done is an old PVA bag, the plastic it comes in, I just put my bag made in that, zip the top off, do my wraps, do what you want to do, and then you just pull it out the bag again. You're on the money, you're going, you're live. You know, what I've done is I just pulled out the bag, inject it with that concoction I made earlier, and that's gone out bloody lovely. So time to sit and wait. Oh, I can show you the fish. So boom, there it is, first one for me. And hopefully the first of many in the magic beans. The Parker Baits magic beans, that was particularly a pink, and that was a 12mm OG fish that done the do. This one's a smidgen over £20, but I am not complaining at all. And also the first fish of the year for me. I've been a lack lassie. I've done a quick sort of 24 hours at the manor, and that place ain't done a bite in 3 months, so that gives you a gauge of that. So up to Berners today, and like I said, absolutely over the moon, and nice to get one before dark as well on the first day. Buzzing. Let's quickly show the other side and get her back. So there it is, there's the other side, and some lovely little sort of apple slicey scales there. Quite grey, this fish. Now, there's a fish in here called Boris, and that's quite a grey fish. I'm guessing it looked very similar on the bank, but obviously a little bit bigger than this. But yeah, blown away with this one, and thank you very much, Mr. Mirror. Thank you very much, Berners. Mwah! So the weather's sort of in and out at the moment. We've had this little dry patch, but I think it was, well, I thought it would be worth mentioning that fish safety is obviously #1 priority for me, but obviously #1 priority for Berners. Now, obviously the banks are, yeah, you can get down and let them go, but there is chance of it sort of scuffing itself. So I'd rather just get in the waders, get out a little bit deeper. You know, it's only, you know, not even 2 foot here. It just makes it that little bit easier to release, and the fish goes back safely every time. So, without teaching anyone to suck eggs, but a bit of good fish care, it's never hurt anyone, has it? Happy days. Nice. Right hand rod has just gone out absolutely perfect, but instead of going just to the left, it's gone just to the right of it, so I've just moved the rods in there. Them rods are on the money, they truly are. If anything, that rod I've just put out is on top of where I had the fish, so, and it hit clip lovely, everything just went on point. So I call it the lock on period now. I'm going to lock on for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, watch that darkness roll in, and just lock on and just see if I can see any signs, what they're doing, how they're doing it, and then act upon it if I need to. If I see a fish showing the same spot X amount of times, I can then move a bag over to that if I need to. But for now, I'm happy where they are. Knowing that spot now, I can get there every single time, And if I'm not happy with it, I can reel it back in. Like I said earlier, I'll go again until I get it right. Now I know that spot. So is that rod going to go again? We shall see. Come on the magic beans and come on the Parker baits. Right guys, it has just gone 8:30 and I'm sitting here lovely and warm because I've got my catch dry, without knocking the mic there, fluffy. Look at that bad boy, zips inside, which I actually got at the show. So massive shout out to Catch Dry, really appreciate it. And I'm lovely and warm at the moment. But we just had a lovely dinner. We had these wraps and we put rice in it. We had these bits of chicken, wrapped them in Parma ham and put mozzarella inside, and we put them in these wraps, and it was absolutely lovely. We just had that rice and what was it, chorizo we had with it. Really, really nice. So thoroughly enjoyed that. That went down as an absolute treat. But it is time for bed. I've been up since 5 this morning, so it was a real early start, and I'm starting to lag now. So time for bed, and fingers crossed I'm not in there long and one of them rods peels off into action for an absolute nosser. Let's address the elephant in the room, and I'm not talking about the geese. There's a full moon up there and it looks absolutely mega. Shame it's cold, but is that going to turn up something out there tonight? We shall see, we shall see. I've had a lovely morning. Myself and Brad have had bacon, sausages in a wrap with a bit of Tommy K over the top, and I was in my element.
Wasn't Heinz.
It wasn't Heinz. It wasn't Heinz. Yeah, that was a bit of a problem, if I'm honest, because anybody who knows me knows I love my sauce, and it wasn't Heinz. I just grabbed it by mistake. I saw red, didn't I? Before, not in a bad way, but I saw the red bottle, grabbed it, put it in my bag before I left, and no, it wasn't Heinz. Promptly pushed there by Brad behind the camera. But on that note, a very uneventful night, if I'm honest. Very quiet. Had a couple of liners, and boy, was it cold. Absolutely freezing I was. It was Baltic. Baltic was probably a bit of an understatement. I think it was like low, I think it was 1 or 2 degrees, but it said on the, felt like -2 on the old weather app. And my God, did it feel like -2. It felt like about -10. I don't think any fish have come out through the night, if I'm honest with you. I think Rob over to my right is still on 4 fish, so fair play to him, and I don't think anything else has been out. Haven't seen any shows this morning. Like I said, we've been sat. This is the second coffee, I'm not going to lie, but no shows this morning whatsoever. But the plan of action today, I wanted to touch on that. So I mentioned yesterday, for newbies turning up to Berners, what to expect, a little bit more of an insight on the pegs, the facilities here on site, how to book on. Like I said, I would like to actually, I'm not physically going to be able to go to every peg, but just touch on a couple of pegs with a couple of people maybe on this bank. Well, that would be nice. So just bit of B-roll in the pegs, what you're up against, and obviously what I will do is I'll put a picture of the lake map up. Now on that, you've obviously got your wrap limits as well. So if you are turning up and you're doing your walk round, you pull up into a peg and you think, oh, I've seen the fish over there. You can refer back to your iPhone or whatever that may be and go, actually, no, that's not in my wraps there. Or I've had 2 liners all night and I've had 2 when I've started the camera. You couldn't write it, could you really? 2 different rods as well, but it might actually be the wind moving my 2 bank sticks in there. I've got a big old ball of seagulls just dropped down on a certain spot over there, but they've just all taken off, which is quite interesting. Whether that's been Rob has just dropped his boat. Sometimes if you've got some buoyant bits in there or dusts or whatever, sometimes that puff moves and then you see all the seagulls moving on that sort of debris on the top, or the little bit of food particles, the odd bit of floating hempen stuff, you see them attack it. They just drop that down again. I would like to speak to Greg today, so I think Brad's going to go up and have a quick chat with Greg and also Ian as well. If Theo's up there, have a little chat with Theo as well. And I'm also going to touch on my PVA bag. I promised you yesterday, I said I'd like to sort of go over the bag. Now, I've went over PVA bags in previous films we've done at the Parker Baits YouTube channel. But here I'm fishing them slightly different, and the main thing for that is I've downsized everything. I am fishing at range. I have got a crosswind, so it's imperative that I keep my bags really, really small. So I can show you how I do that, and it just works. It's like basically casting a 4-ounce lead, if I'm honest with you. So really small little bags. We'll go over that this afternoon. So stay tuned. Lots coming up throughout this afternoon and within this video. And yeah, quite excited to see what today brings, and is it going to switch on? I think it was around sort of midday yesterday, the bites started coming from Rob, and then obviously around sort of, at a guess, I don't know the exact time, but at a guess I would say between 2 and 4 is when I had my run. So is there going to be that repeat today? Who knows? I hope there is. Do I put a bit of bait over the top? I've got some really little bits with me, a little bit of hemp in that, some 10 mils, so I could actually top up with bait. But then I've seen people put bait out yesterday, they've not caught. So I've been quite lucky. I've been just fishing bags and I've had a fish. I know that Rob, who's had fours, not been putting bait out. He's just been little intimate boat loads, and he's been having fish. So if I'm honest with you, if I'm straight up with you, I don't think I am going to put any bait out, if I'm honest. So the last thing I want to do is kill it. I'm just going to fish. They're obviously very lethargic still. It's cold, and they're not moving around as much as I'd like them to. So just maybe them intimate little bags is going to do the job, and hopefully it does. So that's the update for now. 8 minutes past 10. My Sports Direct mug, classy I know. Lovely jubbly.
So just having a chat with Ben, and this one absolutely tore off. So this will be the first one for the year for me as well. So quite eager to get this one in. So hopefully I can produce the goods. This one's a yellow, it's right in front of me. Don't say that, that'd be lovely first fish of the year. I'll try this. Oh. It's just. Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Hey, flipped in there. Hey. Cheers, brother. Lovely, jubbly. Sound boy.
T's one happy man because he's definitely got a mid-30. Or maybe a late 30. We said it earlier. Short and fat, just like me. Lovely.
That's a sick fish, man. Two-tone, pink face, moon scale. That's a one, boy. Oh, well up. But here we go. Check this out for a mega one to start the year off. Absolutely blown away with this one. Colours on it, that little pink face, that little moon scale. What a touch. Absolutely buzzing, boy. Oh, mate, what a start. And hopefully more to come. Check it out, man. Still blown away with this carp. Absolutely chuffed to bitch. Caught on a magic bean with our yellow magic bean with mini mix, mate. Always doing the do. Always doing the do. Oh, let's pop her back. Lovely jubbly.
Hi, my name's Greg Kirsch. I'm a local angler to Berners. I live about 4 minutes away, which is obviously very handy. And I set up the social syndicate, of which Ben is a member, in order to allow regulars to Berners to carry on fishing here, fundamentally. Obviously now that it's gone lake exclusive only, the ability to only be able to fish here maybe once or twice a year was unpalatable, and obviously a few like-minded anglers like myself wanted to kind of get together and be able to fish here on the regular, at least once a month. During the warmer months. So yeah, that was kind of the idea, was to allow you know, a few, more than a few, obviously like 16 of us, to carry on fishing Berners with a few benefits. in the sense that we could limit the numbers to only 16 anglers, which means that even if you come out last in the draw, you've still got the choice of a good sort of 9 swims, 10 swims to pick from. Also gives us plenty of scope to move should you not be on fish. I'm sitting here today and I have got literally a third of the lake to myself, so it definitely has its benefits and allows us to carry on fishing somewhere that can only be described as a super water. So yeah, that was the reason we set it up, and hopefully all of us will get a few PBs this year. So I've fished here for a few years, and I probably should have done a little bit better than I have, that's for certain, given the amount that I fish here, which is generally around about once a month. So every 3 fish in here is a 30, so it's fair to say I've had a good few 30s and upper 30s, etc. In terms of the A team, I've actually only had 3 myself, which is Sherlock at £40, Average Joe at 44.5, and I caught a new unnamed 40 at the end of last year. So yeah, not too many, still plenty to go at. There's I think at last count there's something in the region of 52 40s in here now. 52 40s is a decent chance of getting one out, so I should probably be doing a little bit better than I am, yeah. You don't come to Berners, I guess, for nice willow trees and, fishing sort of, margin work and things like that. It is a bit of a windy pit. It's an irrigation lake. So the water levels are constantly going up and down, which is obviously a bit of a challenge. Sometimes you're bivvying up here, other times you're obviously down on the beach. So that's obviously a challenge. And the weed in here sometimes is chronic. Other times, like today, it's actually barren. So it's constantly changing, and you're having to adapt your fishing to that. And I suppose I enjoy that. The other thing that I enjoy most of all is that if you get it right and start to unpick the code a bit and you're in the right place at the right time, it can almost be like a runs water. Certainly my experience here, and I am nothing more than an average angler at best, I am able to come here because I come here regularly, and you start to unpick obviously a few spots within a few swims, which are regular feeding spots, and that enables me to be able to come here and sometimes get it right, and I'm talking sort of 10 plus fish. Other times you're just picking up 1 or 2, but I tend to fish here a lot with my boy. 90% of my fishing is done with my son Zach, and so from a father's point of view, I'm always under pressure to catch. If I'm just fishing on my own, I can quite happily blank, and then as long as I learn something from it, then I can go away and feel that, it's been a good experience, I've been outdoors and actually learned something about my fishing. When I'm fishing with Zach, it's a bit of a different story. I always feel like I'm under pressure to catch in order to keep him, if you like, on the hook. I don't really have too many problems with that, but nevertheless, I'm always under pressure to catch. And here, if you're in the right swims, it can be swimmy at times, but if you're in the right swims at the right time of year and you're using something they like, then yes, you can pull out a decent amount of fish relatively easily. Sometimes obviously not. Today I am blanking. So yeah, that's what I like about it, is that I can come here and catch fish. And it's 4 minutes away, and there are some whackers in here.
Right, well, as promised in this video, I said I wanted to go over, obviously, the solid bag, and as you can see, I've changed jumper now, and the shades are back out because the sun is just there, and it's absolutely lovely at the moment, but there's this crosswind. And if you're standing at certain points across the bank, you get absolutely battered, and it's really, really, really cold. So, I wanted to touch on basically the solid bag and how I've been fishing, and T's obviously fishing in very similar as well. What I have done is, this was just for sort of demonstration purposes. I had an old Gemini fluorocarbon boom in here, but it's actually got a little nick in it there. But it was just literally to show you a little bit tied on. I've literally cut it off an old rig that I've come with, but this basically gives you the concept of how I'm fishing. Now you can fish this off the back of tubing, whatever you want to fish it off the back of. So I'm going to start from the lead down. So I am fishing a 3.5 ounce inline lead. I do like that weight in a bag. Now, when you're fishing a real small bag, you can actually get it sitting in right in the middle of that bag absolutely perfectly. Now, I always would put my bait at the bottom. Them leads sitting there, absolutely beautiful. So I've got that in. I'm fishing a 1/4 solid bag stem there, and it's the longer one, and they work absolutely beautiful. Why do I like these? Now, you can tie it real tight, and because you're fishing an inline, I'm actually fishing it around so it's drop-off style. You can actually push it right in. You can be really aggressive with the tape, pack the bag down. You know that lead's never going to come out because these sit around it. But on the other scenarios, when you do catch or hit into a fish, it's not enough, it's not on there enough that it obviously stops the lead from coming off, but when you do get in contact, you've got that resistance from the other side, the lead does eject, then you're in complete contact with the fish. So from the lead down from that point, I'm fishing a very, very, very short little PVA bag rig. Now, I call it one suck, game over. The concept is it's going to come over, it's literally going to have one suck, and as it pulls up away from it having that munch or suck or chewing, whatever it's doing, the second that carp pulls its head up, it's game over because the link is already pulling down, hence the short link. Now I'm actually fishing something that I've not really been using before, but I'm really, really chuffed with it. Now this is something new. It's Gardener, it's called Trickster, and it's the heavy camo silk. Now this is what I've been using. This is a 30 pound. It's very, very supple, it's lovely, but it states on the front, it says flat lying and fast sinking, so perfect for the PVA bag scenario. And this is the first time I've used it on this trip, and obviously it's nailed me a carp, so I'm definitely going to be using a lot more of this. I also like to fish quite a strong, thick, obviously being this 30 pound, a lot of people say, oh, that's a bit excessive, Ben, you don't need to do that. I do like fishing slightly thicker because you've obviously got that property of when it does break down, being that I'm doubling it up, it sits down that little bit better because there's a little bit more weight to it because I've doubled up that link at the back. So moving down from that, I am using the twister hooks. Now it's a size 4 hook, obviously it's a barbless rule here, and it's actually got that eye that slightly kicks. Now I love to fish really aggressively in my bag. Now I've fished a medium shrink tube from Corda. This particular one is the clay, so it's got like a brownie sort of colour to it. Or actually it might have been the silk, it was the silk. Pulled back on itself really aggressively over the steam, and you'll get almost a 90 degree, but just up from that I'm sort of sitting sort of like so, if you like, really aggressive. So again, that hook spins round, bottom lip business, short link, it's really hard for him to deal with. So that's what I've got in the bag. I've been fishing obviously a pink magic bean. It's obviously quite vital now that I go into the actual nitty gritties of the bag itself. So I'm using ESP, the perforated bags. They are my favourite bag, and I'm double bagging now. There's a big reason for that, and the reason why I double bag. If I'm fishing at range, you know, a lot of people are using bait boats up here. At the moment, myself and T are fishing, we're casting. So why is double bagging good? Now I know I'm fishing a clear spot over there, so I'm casting it out the thing. If I get a slight bit of bow in my line, I can be that little bit more aggressive with it and tighten my line up, because if I am pulling the bag, I know I'm double bag, it's not going to break down straight away. Now I'm not suggesting for a second when you use one bag it's going to break down instantly. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm giving myself a few extra seconds, 5, 6, 10, 20 seconds for that bag to pull, get the line laid, do all my sort of sitting around, get my thing down, yeah, lovely. And then I can put my rod down, and I know that if I have pulled it that ever so slight bit, I know I'm fishing, because when the bag does eventually break down, that little pink magic bean is going to set up and I am fishing. So touching on the content of the bag, obviously the first thing I've done is obviously put that magic dust. That magic dust is a massive factor for me. I do not leave the house without it. I just can't leave the house without it, especially when I'm fishing PVA bags. Now, believe it or not, a 1 or 2 mil pellet, I think I mentioned it earlier on in the video, can, if you're fishing a very sharp hook, potentially hinder that hook point. So by putting that little bit of dust there, which is very, very, very fine food particles, there's actually 27 different ingredients in that magic dust there. It's sitting at the bottom. I know that hook point's not going to blow, and then I can come in with the mini mix pellet after that, after about sort of ½ inch there, and then hit it with the mini mix after. So I'm mixing the garlic flat spot up with that cannula, shaking the bottle up, injecting the bottom of the bag. Now another key thing to point out with the bag, I am, when I'm injecting the bag, I'm trying to get that hole as close as I can to that pink magic bean, and the reason for that is obviously that's going to be the first point to blow. The pink magic bean is going to set up, and I know I'm always fishing. Now, I'm not a massive fan of losing all the bag. One, I'm a bit tight, so I don't want to be losing it, so I'm putting it in, squeezing that content, and I don't want it all just to run out. So another quick tip, and it's perfect for the magic dust pot, you can actually take the lid off, put the PVA bag in, shake the pot a little bit, and what you'll find is the dust will actually fill the hole. And it's actually filled it perfectly on this scenario now, so I know that's, I'm not going to lose any of the content in the cast when you're putting that bag through that pressure when you're casting. When it hits the deck, when it hits the water, naturally a little bit's going to come off, but most of that content's going to go down to the bottom with the liquid food, and you're going to have that smoulder effect at the bottom. In tank testing with this stuff, it's not like a oil-based product, but when you mix them together, you've got like some liquid foods leaking around it. You've got like liquid food glodules coming up as well because of the oil content within the flat spot. It truly is a great way of fishing, and I do feel, being that you're fishing a liquid food, when it's pulling it up through the water column, it is going to pull a traction around above the bag to pull them fish down on the bag. So yeah, something a little bit different. Well, I'm sitting here quite comfortable, and I mentioned earlier on in the video I wanted to touch on Berners itself. Now, the whole point of the Parker Baits YouTube channel is that yes, you can watch this and pull things from it, knowledge or whatever that may be, but also before you turn up to a venue, you get a true insight into what you're walking into, whether that be pegs, the facilities. We try and show you that as a family here at Parker Baits. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a picture up on the screen now. You can see on there all the pegs, all the wrap distances, they're all there clear as day. So the first thing I will say is just have that bit of common courtesy to the person next to you. Stick to your wraps when you are coming up. It's clear as day there on the website, what your limits are, and it makes it very easy to fish Berners. You know where you can fish, your out of bounds zones, and you can probably take something away from that. So facilities themselves at Berners, you have got a toilet block on here, so you can go to the toilet. But over the back, there is another car park, and what you can do is you can actually walk your gear up or barrow your gear up and meet them further pegs. One thing I will say, because anybody who watches this, our YouTube channel or Parker Baits as a general, we are massive supporters of people with additional needs and obviously people that are disabled as well. So we always go over availability to the pegs. All I would say is with Berners, wheelchair access to pegs here, I would say would be difficult, so just be careful and keep that in mind if you are coming down. But not to write off, there is access to every peg. If you've got a mobility scooter, etc, etc, you would be able to get to all the pegs, which I've seen before. There's also something else to take into account. Obviously the water level does go up and down at Berners, and there is a bit of a drop down to the rods. So if you are coming down, that might be something to think about and to take into consideration. So another massive thing here at Berners, if you do get caught short, you know, you've turned up to the lake and you've forgot something, your spom, your Parker Baits, whatever that may be, you're thinking, I need to stock up. Now what you can do is a couple of minutes up the road, Total Fishing Tackle there, which is the biggest independent fishing tackle company in the country. So that's 2 minutes up the road, you can go up, get what you need to do, like I said, grab yourself a pot of magic beans, jobs are good, and come back down, catch some nos pigs. It blows my mind when I even think about the stock in this particular lake. Now you've got 50 fish, so there's around 800 to 900 carp. You've got 50 fish, I'm going to say this again, 50 fish, 40 plus, which is just unbelievable. You tell me anywhere in the country where you can go and have 50 plus 40s in front of you. Next up from that, I think there's 300 plus 30s, something stupid like that. It truly is mind-blowing. So the lake itself is around 24 acres in size, and what I will say is the water level does go up and down, which is obviously going to change the acreage to a degree, and as I've just looked through there behind the camera, I've just seen a show. And In regards to pegs, you're looking around 25 pegs, something like that around the lake. So there's plenty of places to get in and get involved. I think you can come up to Berners and use every different angle of fishing. What I mean by that is you can come up, you can do some floater fishing, get them feeding on top, which I've done before. With great success as well, and catch some absolute bangers off the top. You can come up here and just PVA bag fish. You can fish through on a spot and pile the bait in over the top. Whatever that may be, I think Berners has got you covered. You do need to think about it because certain times of the year there is little patches of weed now, although it's changed dramatically over the last 5 years, because before there was a hell of a lot of weed. Obviously the blues dye's gone in and changed that dramatically, but therefore makes it easier for the fish, and the fish safety has gone through the roof because there's not really too much now they can get caught on. But be aware there is patches out there, and you are also allowed to use bait boats on site. So that rounds up Berners for me. So hopefully you can, maybe like I've said before, you can take something away from that, so when you are turning up you're not coming into grey. And hopefully you're commenting on this video in the comments saying, Ben, I've turned up to Berners and I've caught my first 40, or I've had an absolute banger. Please, please, please let me and the family know. We love to hear all the captures, and especially if they're on Parker baits. Right, well, you join me with Mr. 40 and T, one of my oldest fishing buddies, shall we say. And mate, you've managed to make it happen again.
Mate.
Fair play.
Nice one. I'm proper happy with that one, mate. That purple head, the little scale and the two-toneness on that, mate. What a touch, mate.
Yeah, true banger.
What a touch.
And you were fishing bags. We're both fishing similar, haven't you? You haven't put much bait out, a couple of spots?
No, I haven't put much bait at all. That one was on a non-baited spot, that one.
Right.
So I've got one where I've got two on it, and then I've got one separate, and that's the one that's been doing it.
And you've been picking up some bites, mate, the duration the last few times up, haven't you? With these bags off the back of your spots.
Yeah.
You've been saying to me, been ringing me like, mate, I've been having them off the bait, which is interesting because before when we used to fish up here, early
It's always
stages,
heavily baited.
it was always on the bait,
yeah.
wasn't it? Heavily baited spots, but now
I'd probably say
Just off.
4 times the amount I get just from a single solid, mate, with a light sprinkling of bait. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Light sprinkling.
yeah. So there you go. And again, I've been fishing just up from T on this one, so we're in 1 and 2. I've been fishing the same, around 29 wraps in that particular peg, exactly the same sort of sporadic bags. I've put no bait out whatsoever. I've literally just been fishing bags and managed to nick one as well. Same sort of scenario. But you've been fishing yellow beans.
Yeah, I always fish yellows up here. They always do me well. Yeah,
Yellow
definitely
beans.
Yellows.
15 or a 12?
15.
Bigger, slightly
Yeah,
bigger.
bigger
And I've been having mine on the smaller, pink OG Fish, smaller ones as well. So the 12 mils, that's interesting. So 2 different colours doing the do this time of year. But it's been hard, mate. I don't think there's been any more fish out, is there?
It's just a cold, mate. I say last night was bitter. I say I was struggling to sleep last night. It was not pleasant.
Yeah, it was.
It's going to be colder tonight.
So you went to bed about 1 o'clock in the morning, didn't you?
Yeah, it weren't too bad 1, but as soon as about 3 in the morning, it was bitter. It was very bitter till probably 6ish. That was really cold.
And it's going to be even colder tonight. So I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to that. But Rob's had 5 now.
He's done well, yeah. He's done well. I say when we rocked up, I think he had 3 or 4 straight away, didn't he?
Yeah.
He done very well. He had a nice linear as well from there. That was a pretty fish. That was a very nice one.
And that was
Oh,
30 something? 30 the one he had?
yeah, it's 30 something. I can't remember
So
exactly.
that's 2 30s. So obviously you've had your 30. Rob's had his 30. So there's 2 30s that we know of coming out so far.
Yeah.
So what is the night going to bring? There's
Yeah.
there's a little bit more on T on how he fishes, because you had some back. You know, you truly have had. This is your place, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, I've been doing well up here lately. I'm very happy with it.
Lately, the last mate, yeah, very 40s coming out of 40s. Was it last year or the year before?
Last year and I think the year before as well.
You
But
had,
this place it does do some good fishing here.
Yeah,
Mate.
yeah.
There's some bangers,
Yeah.
mate. There is some proper.
and the
nice
dream
ones.
came true for you. I think it was on your last trip here when you managed Eric's.
Oh yeah, I was after that one. Thought it was my
Yeah.
last session up here where it's going exclusive.
Something that me and you always spoke about early stages. It was like that was the
That
one.
was our
wasn't it?
one we
And I had my
wanted, yeah.
moment with it, and now it was your time to have your moment with it. And what a moment
Oh,
it
what a
was.
moment indeed,
Yeah,
mate, you
it
know.
was. It was. Yeah, something special. I wasn't there on that particular one, but just seeing the footage. But I was there on Patch when you had Patch.
Yeah, both of me had them
That
as
was
well.
mega, because we
Of
both
all the
had
ones
that
we get the same ones.
Yeah, yeah. Had-
Not complaining at all.
Nah,
They're
nah,
both
nah.
bangers,
Lovely,
mate,
lovely fish, Patch. It just just a lovely frame to it, isn't it? Real dark, chestnutty.
Yeah, it's a nice one. It's a very
Mega
nice one.
moments here at Berners, and then some loads of backup scalies, haven't we, over the years? Like some lovely sort of mid-30s. You know, this place in the next 5 years is going to be scary to what it's going to be
I think
producing.
when we first come in, they only had like 640s. Now it's 50 40s and
50 plus
250s.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
And what is the next 5 years going to bring? How many 40s are there going to be with all them ones coming through?
There's a lot of uppers in here. There's a lot of upper 30s in here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So Berners Hall, one to look out for in the future. A little bit on Mr. 40. So we're going into that period now. It's going to be dark in the next sort of hour or so, give or take.
It's not going to be long, is it, mate? Not going to be long.
We're going to lose light completely. So I think I'm going to redo my 2 rods before that and sort of lock on and see if we can see anything, really. I have seen one show. I've moved my left-hand rod about 15 minutes ago, and hopefully I can nick something on that before it gets too dark. So we'll kick it off with T said, didn't catch a 40, mate, a little bit gutted. No, only messing. Mr. 40 with his 36, fair play to him, and hopefully a few more tonight or maybe first thing tomorrow morning. I've just redone my rods. The left-hand one, the middle one went straight out in the middle of the spot, and the right-hand rod has gone out on the money as well, so I physically couldn't be happy with them. Bags, like I mentioned earlier, I'm injected with that liquid food and flat spot. Hopefully it does the damage tonight. I'm going to sit back now, watch the darkness roll in. I can't do much more. Also, something to point out as well, I am going to believe them rods now, probably till we go, unless something tells me otherwise. T's rods have been out for a long time. You know, that 36 he had been out. I watched me, Brad, everybody, we watched him cast that last night. He's left it out all morning, beginning part of the afternoon, and it's obviously gone sort of mid-afternoon, and fair play to him. Fingers crossed for the last time. Is Berners going to produce a 50? That would be unbelievable. That would be like the icing on the cake, and my mind would be blown, quite frankly. If me or T were to see one of them, or someone to see a 50, would just be crazy. So fingers crossed. Cold night ahead, -3. Not excited for that. Just after the moon phase, is it going to happen? It is cold, absolutely Baltic. I'm freezing, and I'm looking forward to getting home and having a nice warm shower. It's been an uneventful night and a freezing cold night as well, and through the morning. The sun is starting to come through now, which is nice, but that bite time's sort of been between 11 and 4, sort of around that sort of time. But we will be back next weekend for a Parker Baits social here at Berners Hall, so stay tuned on the Parker Baits YouTube channel for that one. But hopefully you've liked it. A few fish on this one, although like I said, it has been not the best conditions. Nice to see a few fish on the bank. Nice to see the magic beans up here doing what they normally do. Them pink seem to always do it for me up here, and I'm also glad that T had one as well, and a banger at that. So, like I said, hopefully you've liked this video, guys. If you have, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you comment down below. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos going forward. And I'll see you all very soon. Peace out.
And that was it. The dreaded lockdown coming.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
Yeah. All fishing was a distant dream, I guess, and it sort of just put a hold on everything. I wasn't just fishing for fish anymore. I was looking for moments like that